welcome to the match preview of West Ham United against Manchester City, the last home game of the season for the Hammers. Not quite the last game of the season, though, still got Brighton to go, but welcome to talk a good game. Gonzo, as always, may you kick us off with your thoughts on our opponents, please.
Yes, indeed. Manchester City. What can I say? Well, I should know an awful lot about them. I've just finished watching them play football against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Sure, should I say I've just finished watching Kevin De Bruyne play football against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I can't help but feeling they're on a bit of a downer at the moment, and I don't think they should be because they are a remarkable football team, a remarkable manager. I've seen the stick that he's getting after the Real Madrid game. They were good games. They were classic games. You know, there's a lot of people crying out for that type of football. It was entertaining. I think they've got a manager who improves players. They buy unpolished gems. Would be a wrong thing because that suggests they're taking an old stone and polishing it up into a diamond. That's not what they do. They get diamonds, but they turn they put the diamonds, they turn them into a crown. That's what they do. You know what I mean? They're not shopping at Lidl. Don't get me wrong. You know, obviously they've done the deal with Haaland now, and I think that is I feel like their first real superstar signing. They've got lots of really good players, but De Bruyne was not the finished article when they took it. There's lots and lots of players that they've had like that, and they make them really, really good. I'll just put the finishing touches to them. I'm pretty sure they'll win the league next season, and if they're patient, they will get a Champions League at some point. They can't. There's only one team can win it every season. It's just once they keep getting close, they'll get there.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Would you say, before I give my opinion, would you say it's been a successful season, though? Assuming they win the Premier League, they only need 4 points for the remaining 2 games to clinch the title now. Is that enough? I mean, it sounds a bit mental, but is the Premier League title enough for Manchester City, or is it a bit of a failure to some extent?
I think it is. It will be seen as a failure, but it is enough. They put a lot of stock in getting Harry Kane, and there's a lesson there for everybody, and it's a lesson that actually on a lesser scale West Ham, I think, have repeated. I think we spent so much time certain that we were getting Jesse Lingard. Actually, when we didn't get him, it sort of mucked us up a bit. So actually, I think they were really quite certain they were getting Harry Kane. And when he came out and did his interview with Gary Neville, I think it was. City pretty much publicly declared their interest. Harry Kane let it be known that that's where he wanted to go. I think but you know, Daniel Levy's not that type of guy. He's not someone that's going to be pushed around, and so they had to work out and play without a striker this season. They've done really, really well. There's fine margins. I would dare say, and this is all the fine margins that are in it. Had they have had Harry Kane, then the league probably would have been wrapped up by now, and they might have got one of those 2 cups that they're not in, and possibly would have had enough to get past Real Madrid. Fine margins. It's been a good season. They just got to remember where they come from. They'll get there. They'll get there, and they'll get there very soon.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's possible to have a successful season yet still be disappointed to some extent. If anything, I would apply that to West Ham as well, really, that we can still have a successful season, qualify for European football again. We can still have a disappointment that we perhaps didn't push on in the January transfer window, we didn't make it to the Europa League final, and how we went out in the Europa League as well. It's possible for it to be both. And I sort of apply that to Manchester City. So in the Premier League campaign, should they go on and win the title, then yes, it has been a success. But with the European competitions, well, not really, because I think you have to win it in order for it to be a success. Otherwise, it's a failure. But that's the standards that Manchester City are at. It's win the title or it's not good enough, essentially, regardless of what competition you're in. And that's the standards that Pep Guardiola set as well, and with the players that he's got available at his disposal. I think they're a fantastically run club. I think they're a really good club as well. Really enjoyable to watch. I've enjoyed watching Man City play as a neutral this season. Play good football, good attacking football. And when the season kicked off without their striker, I was a bit curious as to see how they were going to get on, because I thought it was a gamble. And while it didn't necessarily mean that I doubted Guardiola, I just thought, how will you cope without somebody just essentially stick the ball in the back of the net? But they've done it wonderfully. They've changed who plays in that sort of central role in between the front 3 consistently. Jesus hit a purple patch as well a couple of months ago, which has probably just been enough to keep Liverpool away. And in a weird way, that's the biggest compliment I can give Man City, that they look like they're going to go on and win this title up against one of the best teams I've seen in the Premier League. And I would argue Liverpool are the best team in European football right now. But yet Man City are probably going to go on and win the title without a striker. I mean, that's how good Man City are. It's incredible how good they are. And, you've touched on Haaland, so it would be rude not to speak about him. Not just him, but Alvarez as well, who they signed in January and loaned back to River Plate. I mean, no number 9 this season, but they've got 2 next season. But one of them, like you said, Haaland, superstar, 51 million. I mean, this is possibly, we're looking at one of the biggest bargains of recent times in football.
Well, as you will have already seen by now, I discussed that in the forum video this morning. And as I said on that, I think when you compare it to the big numbers of Mbappe, it does look like a bargain. And I do wonder, I couldn't help but think when I heard the news, that I do wonder if they almost felt a bit lucky that fortunate they missed out on Harry Kane, who's a great player. But Haaland is probably more what they need. Harry Kane is this good player that drops deep and often makes things happen. And obviously, he's a number 9 and a number 10, as you often say. He's like 2 players rolled into one. They don't need another number 10. They've got all of them anyway, right? What they do need is a number 9. So I think this works out for them. I do think the thing is good. And one thing I did want to say, a couple of things I did want to say about Man City, actually. Firstly, I do think there's a pressure on them and PSG. And the longer it goes, they're without winning it. It gets the pressure on. It becomes more of a pressure on it. I think it's different to Man City as it is for PSG, because I think the Premier League is competitive. So I think actually it means something to win the Premier League. When, as you say, when Liverpool are that good, when Man United will come back, when Chelsea will have been really good over the past years, and there are other teams just scratching below the surface, like more like Arsenal, and they're gonna. It's an achievement to do that. I think. You can console yourself with that. I think with PSG, there's not really an achievement in winning the French league. So almost they have to win the Champions League as their only means of achieving something by playing against good teams. So I do think there's a difference there. I also just wanted to say as well, I'm not in a habit of feeling sorry for clubs. And I don't feel sorry for Man City in terms of money and things like that. But actually, on 2 occasions this season, I've actually felt sorry for a club. The first, and they were both Man City. And the first one was when Man City played PSG, because I thought it started off. This has been the worst season of cheating that I feel I've seen when I've watched football. This has been the most it's ever been. I understand it happens a lot in a lot of other areas, but in what I've seen, I watched a game against PSG and I watched Neymar and everything. I thought it was awful, and I actually had a sympathy for City in that, and I thought they handled it really well. And then you get to the debacle with Atletico Madrid, which I thought was absolutely disgusting. I wouldn't even compare it to sport, Geo. There's nothing sporting about what we saw there. I thought it was an absolute disgrace. I got low love for Man City. Quite frankly, I'd prefer Liverpool to win the title this year, because I don't like lots of teams winning titles back to back. I don't like that. I've got no particular love for Man City, but I thought the way they handled that as a club, and in particular the way Guardiola handled that absolute maniac of Simeone, and the way he refused to be drawn into a war of words, and I thought he handled it with real grace and real stature. And I'll tell you what, I thought he was a fantastic ambassador for his club. Then Guardiola, actually,
I thought Man City, Atletico Madrid over the 2 legs, especially over in Spain. I thought they did. Atletico Madrid, they turned the tables around on them a little bit. It's pleasing to see, actually. It's probably signs of sort of Manchester City adopting a different attitude in the Champions League compared to domestic games, which I think you have to do. We've seen it with West Ham this season, where you can't apply the same attitude to the Premier League as you do in the Europa League. It's different. The referees are different. Almost like the culture of football to some extent is different. I thought Man City showed a good experience across that, and they only got done by 2 minutes of good play by Real Madrid, essentially, which ironically was, you could argue that possibly the best number 9 in European football put Manchester City out the Champions League over both legs. The one thing that Manchester City are missing. Anyway, coming up, we've got one more question on Man City. But before we do that, this video is sponsored by the One Football app. If you want to keep up to date with the latest transfer news, as a Man City fan, you probably do right now, waiting for that official confirmation that Haaland is a Manchester City player ahead of next season. And there's loads of transfer speculation if you're a West Ham fan. We've heard today about the Declan Rice contract offer. We've heard today about PSG subsidising Areola's wages. The best place to keep up to date on this is One Football app. And I'm not even joking. That's how I found out about the Declan news thing yesterday to you on Wednesday. The Declan news thing came through on my phone as a notification from the One Football app to tell me what Jim White was claiming. And it's completely free. It's a bigger bargain than 51 million for one of the best strikers in world football at the minute. Please get it downloaded to your device using the link in the description of the pinned comments of this video. And an hour before kickoff on Sunday, so 1 o'clock on Sunday, you'll get a notification that says, "Oi, lineups are out for Man City against West Ham United." Click on it and you can get both teams there. Simple. Happy days, bish, bash, bosh. Gonzo, before I ask you, pleasure, Meyer, one thing I will say, you talk about feeling sorry for Man City. I actually felt sorry for Man City in the last couple of days regarding Haaland, because I feel like Sky Sports have got an agenda out for them at the minute, because this, I've never heard, and it's Cava in particular. I'm not his biggest fan, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm not Cava's biggest fan. But when he was describing Haaland's transfer to Manchester City, he started adding everything into he didn't say 51 million. He started adding everything in. He threw in the agent fees, his wages, and he said, "Oh, it's going to cost Man City 250 million." Since when's that ever a thing? Since when have you ever done that to sort of describe the transfer fee allocated to a player? When Luis Diaz joined Liverpool, this is not a dig at Liverpool, this is a dig at Cava at Sky Sports. You never lumped all his wages and stuff, and you just said he's 38 million. That's it. Good deal, 38 million bargain. But because Haaland's so cheap in the scheme of things at 51 million, he's adding in everything to make it sound like it's £250 million. And I've just not seen that sort of mentality used against any other club, including West Ham. And it's just one of them things. I just think you're going after the wrong club here, because Man City fans are quite humble, actually, in regards to their past. They know where they come from. They realise they're fortunate to be witnessing the football they're witnessing at the minute. And they're just almost enjoying the ride for what it is. And I just think, I don't know, it just annoyed me, actually. And I felt a little bit sorry for Man City fans in particular, because they don't really deserve this almost attack I felt from Sky Sports regarding the Haaland deal. I don't know. But anyway, Persian Meyer from the Citizens, please.
Well, there's just so many, and you feel, it's like almost like a who's who of football. So I mean, you sort of seem a bit silly, don't you, saying, "Oh, that Kevin De Bruyne can kick the football a bit," So we're to try for some other ones that are left of field. I really like Cancelo, funny enough, who can play left of field and right of field. He's one of my favourite players. I'm always really impressed by him. I like the way Foden is developing. I think that's really nice and really good to see. And obviously, he's been given such an elevated role. I don't really know what his role is, but with no striker there, he's got a really interesting role this season in particular. But I think it's been really, really good for him. Really enjoy watching him play as well. I like the centre back Diaz. Looks like they've lost another centre back tonight in Laporte, so I think they're down to Nathan Ake and any other bloke that can play next to him. But I really like him. I think Diaz, very good player. And actually, I know he's only a squad player. He's only a squad player. I'm on purpose. I'm not picking the big guns here, right? I know he's only a squad player, but I actually quite Zinchenko is not a bad little player. Actually, I do wonder if they want to sell him. If they want to sell him, I've got a little bit of money in the Nationwide Flex account. I can go and pick him up in my van, and I can help facilitate the deal.
I'm going to say the same player I mentioned when we did the preview for the game at the Etihad. Bernardo Silva. He's thoroughly impressed me this season. He looked like he was on his way out of Man City last summer with the arrival of Jack Grealish, but he was still there. And it was one of them, well, how's he going to get on kind of thing? Has he been made to feel unwanted in any way or anything? Quite the opposite. He's one of few players in the Premier League I think can perform world class in more than one position. I think sometimes when you have, Harry Kane's a world class striker, and I know he's I'll always go on about his abilities dropping deep and stuff, but that's still as a striker. He wouldn't be world class playing on the right wing or anything, would he? But with Bernardo Silva, you can almost put him right wing, left wing, centre midfield, whatever. You could get world class performances out of it, and there's not many players in the Premier League that can do that. It's difficult for us to ignore De Bruyne because we're recording this on Wednesday night. We've literally just watched him smash Wolves apart single handedly, scoring 4 goals, and 2 of them were with his left foot, and one of them was 25 yards out with his left foot as well. Incredible play. I agree with Phil Foden, by the way. I think he's really come on this season, and out of that City team, I think there's probably only maybe 6 or 7, which I guess it is a lot. Really, actually, there's probably 8 or 9. I'm about to say to start every game, regardless of the opposition. And the attacking trio, Pep used to rotate quite a lot, but actually Foden's now there every single game now. He starts in one of the 3. It might be alongside Mahrez, might have De Bruyne up there in centre midfield. Silva might be there, Grealish might be there, Jesus might be up there, whoever. There might be 2 different people every game, but Foden's regularly starting in there, which is a testament to how far he's come. Anyway, enough about Man City. Let's talk about West Ham United, and we're going to start with a little bit of a team news as it stands. Craig Dawson and Mikel Antonio both went off injured against Norwich last weekend. Both are expected to be perfectly fine for the game against Man City. Saeed Benrahma left Carrow Road on crutches. However, it was believed to be a precaution due to swelling on his foot, and he's touch and go as it stands for the Man City game on Sunday. He's expected to make it, but there's a little bit of iffiness behind it. For the sake of this preview, Gonzo, we're going to assume Saeed Benrahma is available as well as Craig Dawson and Mikel Antonio. So let's do our hypothetical 11s then. Starting with the goalkeeper. Never change a winning side, they say. Never change a winning team. Convincingly smashed Norwich 4-0, but I feel that we're both going to want to see some changes, and I've got a feeling we're both going to want to see some changes in the sticks.
We are in the sticks. Yeah, never change a winning team unless your goalkeeper can't catch. And I mean only in the last game. A wonderful servant Fabianski's been, but also bearing in mind the context that there might be a chance that we can get Areola next season. He would be our number 1. If that is going to be the case, then let's get him there. Let's make him our number 1 now, right now. Let's not wait till next season. Let's give if he's hanging in the balance, let's help make that decision for him. And he's a bloody good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I've wanted to see him remain number 1 for a few weeks now. My opinion hasn't changed. It's only been strengthened by what happened last Sunday at Norwich City, and then further strengthened with the rumours. That's, of course, if I believe the rumours, which I kind of do. To be honest with you, I do kind of believe those rumours around we could potentially sign him in PSG, pay a bit of his wages. Now let's move into defence then. We played a back 4 against Norwich City with Soufal, Dawson, Zouma and Creswell. Would you keep that, or would you like to see any changes at the back, whether it be personnel or shape?
A little tweak for this one in terms of personnel. In the defence, I'll play Ben Johnson at left back because he's a better defender, basically, and we're going to be defending for a lot of this game.
I've got the same. I've brought the same down. I put Ben Johnson in as well. It's not necessarily anything untoward towards Aaron Creswell. It's just for the reason you've said. I think Ben Johnson is the better defender, and I think Soufal is probably at the minute in the last couple of games the better player going forward out of the 2. So I think Soufal has to play because we need that offensive play. But I think you do need to sort of level up a little bit. And one player that didn't start against Wolves on Wednesday was Riyad Mahrez, and then imagine that Pep will do some rotation because I thought Man City looked a little bit tired towards, not tired as such, but I thought there was a couple of Man City players that looked a little bit iffy at the end of the game and whether just flagging a little bit. So I don't know if he'll freshen it up, and if he does, Mahrez is surely the player he's going to bring in and therefore put him on the right. So I agree with Ben Johnson coming in at left back. Now, midfield, you were quite impressed with the duo of Declan Rice and Manuel Lanzini, but were you impressed enough to play them against Man City?
Well, it's only because it's Man City, really. But yes, I was incredibly impressed. So I get the only question. So the question is, if we get top Souček, I would put Souček in there. David Moyes would know this. That's what I would do. Anything other apart from top Souček, then I would play Lanzini because, I was very, very impressed with it. So it's hard to know. Was it a rest? Was it being dropped? Was he just tired? There's the mental aspect of it. He will be dropped. Give Souček a bit of a kick up the bum. There's no effort. There's no a question of Souček's effort, but drive him on to put in a stellar performance. You may well find you need a player like Thomas Souček because we're going to end up defending a lot. But, Geo, I'll tell you now, well, you don't need to tell you would have watched the same game that I just watched. Wolves got at Man City. That scoreline wasn't totally reflective of the game that I just watched. And I think we have to make sure we have some type of offensive threat. Only because I think Souček might not be right, I'm going to say Lanzini. But if I thought Souček was 100%, I play Souček. I'm going to go Lanzini.
Yeah, I mean, the Wolves game could have finished about 10-3 Man City. Wolves definitely deserved more than the one goal, I think. But I think at the same time, I think Man City were unlucky to only score 5, which is ridiculous as it sounds. But I would actually play all 3 of them, Gonzo, in midfield as well. Keep Lanzini next to Declan Rice, but take Souček back in there as well, because Man City do play 3 centre midfielders on paper. But what we've just witnessed from tonight is Kevin De Bruyne playing between Wolves' defence and Wolves' midfield, and we can't afford him that space. Nobody can. You can't afford any City player that space. But, tonight was a good result and a bad result for West Ham. The good result was Wolves has just got hammered, and we now need a point to secure 7th out of the remaining 2 games. Or even if we lose 2, Wolves have to win 2, and one of those games is against Liverpool. So European football's, I don't want to say certain, but it's as close to certain as it can be without mathematically being secure. But the bad thing is, the bad result for West Ham tonight was the way Man City played, the way that Kevin De Bruyne played as well. And while I've said Pep will freshen up, there's no way he's leaving that Kevin De Bruyne out of the team on Sunday. You just can't do that. You put him in there. And I almost think we need somebody, we need Declan Rice to be in that area of the pitch. We can't afford to let De Bruyne play 25 yards out from our goal, because not only is he scoring goals, he's creating chances as well. I mean, his second goal tonight, he creates a chance for Sterling, then scores it. So he created the chance and scored the bloody chance as well. He's that good. We can't allow him to do that. I would play all 3, Lanzini, Souček, and Declan Rice. I mean, saying that, you still might also play Manuel Lanzini just a bit further up the pitch. So what would you like to see happen in the final third on paper?
Well, I would do exactly the same thing, actually, because I don't think there's any... I can't make any case for playing Fornals. I just can't. No. I can't. His passing was so bad. He missed a couple of sitters. Yes, we know the work rate. We get that, and you know what you get with him. But it's not like nobody else works hard. I thought Lanzini worked really hard, and I actually thought Benrahma worked really hard in the last game as well. He really, we said this, we discussed him in depth in the Patreon player ratings, and he tried really, really hard in that. I'm sure his running stats would have been really good. Well, up until the point where he injured his foot, and then his running stats would have been terrible. But his hobbling stats would have been superb in the way he went off the pitch. I think you have to drop Fornals for this one, Gio. I don't think there's anything, and I'll tell you now the rest of my team, which you'll have guessed anyway, which is obviously Benrahma has to start following 2 goals. Bowen, after 3 assists, has to start, and obviously Antonio was looking really good up until the point where he fell over, basically.
We've got a match in starting 11. It doesn't happen very often, but I completely agree with you. I think what the Norwich game showed us is that Moyes can drop one of his undroppable players, if you like, and we cope. Not only do we cope, we get better. And I think, in a weird way, dropping or resting, however you want to label it up, dropping Souček justifies dropping Fornals to some extent. Because, look, you can take one of those players that you think we can't cope without. We can cope without him. Take them out of the team. They're not playing well. Take them out. Give them a kick up the bum or an arm around the shoulder, whichever you feel is necessary.
Both.
Yes, but leave the player in form in the team, because that's something we have now. It is based on just the one game, granted, but do you know something? It's one game more than Fornals has got in the bank in regards to Said Benrahma. This team that we're all picking, bar Souček, they're all in form. Ariola's in form, Dawson Zuma's in form, Johnson's in form, Sufal's in form, Rice is in form, Lanzini, Bowen, Antonio, they're all in form. The only one that isn't is Souček, but he's been dropped. He was dropped last weekend. He's had his lesson, and we need him for this game. With Fornals, yes, you can play him, but at what expense? Well, we can predict what expense. It will be the expense of Said Benrahma. But that's unfair. We can't do that. And I understand what Moyes' justifications would be, which is, well, it's Man City. So our reasons for putting Souček in is the reasons that Moyes would leave Pablo Fornals in ahead of, say, Benrahma. Benrahma showed in the last game he's willing to get back. He's willing to put the effort in. And he deserves a crack at this one, because you are also correct about what you just said about how Wolves got at Man City. Now, before we get on to that, neither of us have got Mr. Mark Noble in the team.
No,
But
no. Well, he's someone who doesn't need a kick up the shoulder or an arm round the bum. He's highly motivated. It's going to be a big day for him. I'm glad you brought it up. What a wonderful, lovely speech, and the Hammer of the Year awards. Was quite remarkable. What a lovely guy, and the interviews that followed as well, Geo. He did so well, and I don't know who was interviewing him. It was a lovely little bit with Ben Johnson was there, and he got called into the interview, and Mark Noble had missed one of the games or something, and as he was leaving, Ben Johnson he just saw Mark Noble in his head. He realised no one had swept the dressing room, so he went back, and the opposition has swept the opposition stadium and swept the dressing room, which I thought was really nice. A really nice exchange between them, and his influence on the team this season has been vast. He's not just a figurehead captain; he is actually still the club captain in every sense of the word. And I was, I was pleased. It's not like you want to see someone upset or crying. He wasn't upset. He was just emotional with the sort of happiness and reflective joy that he's had from representing the club. And I was pleased to see him emotional like that. Actually, it shows how much it means to him. No, not starting Geo, but I'm sure there will be an occasion when we'll get to see Mark Noble. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I hope so. I do. I know there's no room for sentimentality in football, especially when European football's up for grabs. But this isn't like any other player retiring or anything. I hope the game allows us to bring him on, even if it's just for 5 minutes to go. I hope he gets on the pitch in his final home game. Originally, I'll be honest with you, a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, I was thinking we'll start him. And we probably won't start Declan Rice. And in the 16th minute, Noble comes off, Rice goes on, armband gets handed over, kind of thing, which would be the most emotional thing of doing it. And if we had nothing to play for, I would imagine that's what would happen possibly. But if we were seventh, we couldn't go up and couldn't go down, I'd imagine it's like, right, let's make it about Mark Noble. But actually, the one person in the world who doesn't want that is probably Mark Noble. Mark Noble will be the first person who says, no. You play the starting 11, you win the game. And even if I don't get on the pitch, I don't care. Get the win if you can. Get European football, and I'll come on the pitch after the game and have a little speech and say thank you very much. He's the first person that would put. What are you laughing at?
I'm imagining David Moyes trying to do a 16th minute substitution, and him getting a bit of paper, and him having a bit of paper which he wants to give to the fourth official, which says 60 minute substitution. He's like giving it. No, give it to Oak. Do you want them? I can't. Can we do it in the 65th minute? I just David Moyes, a 16th minute substitution. Yeah, there'd be two people that would be comfortable with that. Mark Noble and David Moyes. I just can't. If he said, can he do it?
I hope he gets something. I hope when he comes on, I don't know. I don't know how. I want West Ham to be winning, but at the same time, well, no, but I don't know. He's got to get on the pitch at some point, though. He has to. Even if it's in the 89th minute, he's got to get on the pitch, regardless of the score, as far as I'm concerned. But like I said, the one person I would say no to that is Mark Noble. And you also do what's right for the team, not what's right for Mark Noble, because actually the two things are the same, really. What's right for Mark Noble is doing what's right for the team for this game. But my all-time favourite West Ham player is going to be emotional on Sunday. I'm not going to lie. My bottom lip was quivering watching that speech he gave at the Player Awards when his voice broke and said that the group of lads have been amazing that year. When he said the word amazing, he went. It almost made me went. I'm sort of dreading Sunday, to be honest with you. I'm not ready for this at all. I've known a long time in advance that this was going to be Mark Noble's last home game, and I'm still not ready for it. You're going to see there's going to be a lot of grown men crying, I think, on Sunday afternoon, regardless of what happens. And when he walks around and does his lap of honour on his own. And the good thing is, it's the team's last home game as well. So they'll get their lap of honour to say thank you for your support, and we'll say well done for your season efforts. Then Martin Noble will have his own one. So it's going to be a special day on Sunday. Hopefully we can make it special on the pitch. And, it's just the right time to be playing City, Gonzo, because for two reasons. A, their lack of defenders. We've seen them tonight. We know Diaz, no Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
Fernandinho started with Laporte. Laporte went off injured. Fernandinho got taken off, I imagine, as a precaution, just because we've got nobody left now. So poor old City are going to have to play their £40 million Nathan Ake at the back. But as a result of that lack of centre-backs tonight, we did see Wolves with a reasonable tactic. It was quite simple, which is let's go a little bit direct and let's have a foot race against the City centre-backs. But it worked with some success.
I thought so. I have my word that Neto's quick, isn't he, as well? But yeah, I thought they did well. But even players that I think it was possibly Dendonka got through, had a really good shot at one point. What a save by the keeper. I know it was offside. You see that save? My word. The City goalkeeper. What's his name again?
Ederson.
That's the one. Brilliant save. But yeah, Wolves did get at them. Really got at them. And he was nervous. I think it might have been 3-1 at the time. I think Pep was nervous. He's as you say, some of the defenders were dropping like flies as well. Didn't really know what to do. But I guess they revert to type. When you can't defend and when you've lost your defenders, attack some more. And that's what they did. And that will be De Bruyne's game of the season. That will be, was in absolutely purring form. But yeah, they had weaknesses there. They're not a weak team, but they were a couple of areas of weakness. And I think they'll be relieved to have got those 3 points actually come the end of it and in such style. But I don't think City will be thinking that, and I'm talking about Pep and the players here, they'll be a little bit worried about this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's the right time for us to play them. They've had a game midweek. We haven't had a game. We've had the rest up since the Norwich game, which is important, not just for fatigue, but so the players can have plenty of time on the training ground. The players have got plenty of time with their families. And it's something, I'll be honest with you, it's something I sort of forget and perhaps underappreciate the commitment of playing in European football when, Declan Rice was speaking after the game, after the player awards, and he said that this season they've obviously had a lot of European games, which means not much time on the training ground, but also a lot of time away from their families. And I think I probably have been guilty of sort of not really appreciating how difficult that is for the players. I know a lot of people say, oh, woe is them on that much money, but that doesn't, no amount of money makes up for being away from your family. You miss your family, regardless of how much money gets put in your bank at the end of the month. So they've had a week at home now, which is not something they've had for a little while, actually. So I'm hoping we see the benefits. And reason A is the lack of City players, which will help us. But reason B is it is Martin Noble's final home game. And David Moyes doesn't have to do a pep talk for them. No pun intended there. But David Moyes doesn't need to do a pep talk for this game. He just has to remind them it's Martin Noble's last ever home game. Go out there and do it for Noble. If anything, let Noble do the speech before the match kind of thing. You hear Declan Rice after we got beat by Frankfurt about how the boys wanted to do it for Mark Noble. Well, if they want to win an entire competition for him, which I believe, then they're going to want to win the last home game for him as well and give him a good proper send-off. So I think the motivation's there. I expect the players to give an extra 5% this game for Mark Noble. And I wouldn't say they're for the taking, but their defence is probably the weakest it's been this season, actually, in terms of personnel available to Pep Guardiola. So with all that in mind, are you confident for this one?
No, I'm not confident for this one. But I think we've got a chance. I think there's a chance. I
think we'll score.
I'm not resigned to defeat. I think we can give them a game. I'll tell you that now. Look, we play Man City, right? We play Man City. We've already beaten Man City this season. Let's get that right, okay? We play Man City 10 times. We'll probably lose 8 or 9. But you know what? There's always a chance in it. There's always a one, And when they've got no defenders and we've got lots to play for as well. This is not the end of season jolly up that Man City basically wanted to be playing Southampton or insert your particular team that are safe from relegation.
I wish we were playing Southampton as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure everybody playing. But anyway, yeah, so they're not going to want to be playing someone that's got something to play for. And confident? No. Hopeful? Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not confident at all. The thing is, I was watching the game tonight and I said, West Ham could play 10 out of 10 on Sunday, but this City turn up, we'll get beat because they're just too good. Foden's too good. De Bruyne's too good. They're better than us. They have better players than us. But I'm confident that we're going to give them a game. I'm confident that we're going to score and cause some problems. And I agree with what you're saying. I think they'll be a bit nervous for this one. There's a lot of pressure on them going into it. There was a lot of pressure on them going into tonight. And I think at times, I don't know if I'd say the nerves showed, but certainly there was a little bit of fragile about that City defence that you don't often see. And obviously not having Ruben Diaz available to them helps that. But if Laporte's missing on Sunday as well, I'm sorry, but Mikel Antonio's got to be rubbing his hands. I'm looking forward to seeing Antonio running at 37-year-old Fernandinho. If he can't beat a 37-year-old Fernandinho in a race, then we've got a problem. We saw him struggle against Real Madrid, right back for, 50, 55 minutes he struggled. He couldn't cope with it. No matter where, he was up against one of the fastest players in La Liga for that game. But Antonio's, he's not slow. So they're there. They're not there for the taking, but they're there to be got at, actually. And I would suggest that we're in a very good position for this game, Gonzo, because we don't have anything to lose. If we lose this game, so what? We go again against Brighton. We have another chance against Brighton to win the match, to try and pinch 6. This game doesn't determine anything in our season. Obviously, if we get something, it puts us in a really good position for 6th place. But we've got nothing to lose. We can go out there, put on a performance, last home game of the season, put on a performance, put on a show, try and do it for the skipper, and try and get a shock result that's going to, send half of Liverpool into celebrations. So can I get any final words from yourself, as well as your all-important score prediction, please?
Yeah, final words. Just hope it's a big day for Mark Noble. But I'm sure it might not be just the celebration that everybody thinks in that sense. It might not just be the bunting out and the rest of it. It may well give the stadium the lift. There'll be a lot of stuff going on in that stadium. You may well find that come kickoff, there's a really good atmosphere in the stadium as well. All the pressure is on Manchester City here for reasons you've just described. If we take it into the game, then we can really do something. If we score early, we definitely could do something. I don't do this. We do previews all season. Obviously, that's what we do. That'd be good, wouldn't it? As a football channel, if you only did it for half the season, but all season, I give my prediction straight, right? But now I'm going to do a head prediction and a heart prediction. My head prediction says we're going to lose 3-1. But there's a little, there's a little bit of fruitiness in the heart, Geo, that is suggesting that West Ham win this 2-1.
We like a little bit of fruity on the channel, don't we? I always say to anybody, go with your heart over your head, because you can change your mind, but you can't change your heart. So I guess your score prediction is going to have to be 2-1 West Ham on this one. But do you know something? I don't know. I've just got a sneaky feeling as well. I don't know. It just feels like not quite the last ever game at Upton Park where it's meant to be and all that. It's not quite that. But I wouldn't be surprised you get some performance from West Ham on Sunday. One of the most committed performances from West Ham on Sunday. That's a team with something to play for, with somebody to put on a performance for. And like you said, I think the atmosphere will be good as well. I think the fans will turn up. But I'm very relaxed for Sunday. I've got no nerves going into this game. The semi-final, Christ, I felt sick. I felt physically sick going into that semi-final game. But Sunday, there's none of that. There's no nerves or anything like that. We can turn up on Sunday, enjoy it, celebrate Mark Noble, celebrate likely qualifying for European football again, celebrate what most people would consider to be a successful season. And I'm going to say West Ham 1, Man City 1. I think we're going to upset. I think we're going to make Man City very nervous going into that last game of the season, actually. So, yeah, that's my score prediction. So there you have it. And Gonzo's going 2-1. So if you enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel. 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday, which means we'll be live at 12:55 on this channel with our build-up show. Get the OneFootball app downloaded in the description, and we'll see you on Sunday.